rehearse with me. And don't look so surprised, love. I know you may not.
K Love is a servant first, a teacher, a mentor, a daughter, a friend, and obviously a poet. I am a national spoken word artist. In addition to that, I am a mentor, and I love that, and I love my life. My writing process is natural. It's organic, so it can't follow like a routine. Like there's no, it seems like I can't do it when I want to do it. I only could do it when I'm moved to do it. And so, yeah, there's no routine. It's very sporadic. It's very random. It's very whatever. It's like I'll feel something and, you know, I'll play with some lines surrounding that feeling in my mind. And once I get the groove of it, I'll just keep going from there. But it has to be the right time. And apparently I can't predict that. When I'm writing, I try to be as honest as I possibly can. I make sure that I don't say things that I don't mean or that I don't feel just because they rhyme with something or they would fit perfectly right here or for shock value. I want to be authentically truthful when I write. So honesty, transparency is at the top of the list. And after we get, you know, a good, honest subject matter that you can be transparent about, the next thing that's very important to me is creative writing, like using poetic devices. I love similes and metaphors and alliterations. I love to play with words and, you know, flip the meaning of it a couple of different times. I love to explain the same point 5 times, you know, in a poem. And I do that for the reason of people learn different. You know, some people, you have to hear it this way to understand it. Some people need to hear it that way to understand it. I feel like after you hear one of my poems, I done said it so many ways, so many times that there's no way that you're going to be at the end of the poem like, what was she talking about again? So transparency and creative writing are 2 big elements for me. Being creative is tapping into your God power. You know, when I think about God, I think about God as a trendsetter. So even if you weren't the first person to do it, because they say there's nothing new under the sun, I think being creative is drawing from your own original thought. You know, you might do something that someone else has done without knowing it, but at least your intention was to do something that was original to your own thought. I guess I have to say, in high school I used to write it to entertain my friends. And, you know, I wrote this poem called The Hater's Game. And I remember reading it to one of my girls in between classes. And she really, really liked it. I mean, at that time, spoken word, well, at least it wasn't popular for me. I didn't know much about it, but I just wrote it down just to entertain, you know, my small little circle of friends. I didn't memorize it, but I read it to them and they liked it, and so I continued to do it. So I guess I was like, oh, okay. I didn't call myself a poet, but, you know, it was just some words that sounded good and was about a real topic. What's my favorite poem? Well, you know, I can't say what my favorite poem is because my favorite poem is different depending on what I'm currently living through. Right now, right at this very, very, very moment, and I don't know why that's making me emotional, right at this very moment, like waking up this morning, the poem that's been on my mind over and over again is Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. Yeah, life can be very difficult, but we overcome. We always do. So I would say for now, that's my favorite poem by someone. What poets influence me? Okay, so I have influences that are like famous, if you will, And then I have influences that are close that I can touch. I can talk about both. As far as influences that are famous that I haven't necessarily touched, but their art has touched me. Top of the list, Lauryn Hill. I just think she's amazing on so many different levels. And you know, her Miseducation album was dope and well put together and a bunch of great things. But where I really fell in deep love with her was the Unplugged album, because it was that transparency that I was talking about, and that really moved me. So I would say that she's definitely one of my top influences. Outside of Lauryn Hill, you know, hip hop for whatever reason is what I'm most influenced by. So in the list of hip hop artists that influenced me, I would say Lauryn Hill, I would say Tupac, I would say Eminem, and I would say those are my top three, and for all different reasons. I love Lauryn Hill because she's a triple threat. She can sing, I don't even know if there's a word for that. She can do everything. And then we move on to Tupac, like the passion, like who made you feel passion like that? Like that was amazing. And then Eminem with the wordplay, I can tell that he was greatly influenced by Pac, but I think he took it to the next level as far as being able to flip the words like he does. So hip hop wise, I would say those are my influences. Outside of those, if we're talking about like literary authors, Maya Angelou. I just watched a documentary on her life, and it reminded me of how much of an influence she has been. I want to be like Maya Angelou. I don't know what else to say. And then, you know, not last, but definitely not least, the people that I can touch that have been great influences to me as a poet, as a writer. My mentor, Dina Dean, very popular poet in Chicago. Outside of Dina Dean, Triple Black, oh my God, first poet from Chicago to do deaf poetry. Outside of Triple Black, I would have to say Harold Green. Harold Green is my friend. We started at the same time, but I continue to be inspired and influenced by his work. If I'm keeping it at three, my top three, I would have to say those are probably my top three. But the list is so long. Like, forgive me if I missed anybody, because the list is long. And then outside of that, I have a village of mentees that are amazing writers, young writers, you know, that are just phenomenal. Shout out Lyric Squad. Amazing. Poetry is important to me because, as I said before, I'm a mentor before I'm a poet. Like, when I was 11 years old, I was taking 6-year-olds in my neighborhood to the library and combing their hair and giving them clothes and teaching them everything that I was learning. I didn't know the word mentor at that time, so I didn't realize that I was mentoring them. But being a mentor, being very passionate about it, you're constantly looking for ways to speak to your mentees. And what I found about poetry is it's a great way to get messages across that might be hard or typically uninteresting to them, but important and necessary. So they are way more enthusiastic about listening to a rhyme, a poem, than me just lecturing them about life and what they need to do or should stop doing. So poetry is important to me because it's a vehicle in which I use to speak to my mentees. People being such a community worker, being such a popular person, being such a role model to a lot of people, a lot of times people don't assume you need any help with things. They assume that you got it. When people tend to see you collected, they tend to, they tend to think that you can handle it. And so I don't think that I can't say that I don't get asked that at all. I just don't get asked it enough, or at the right moments. I guess that's what I was saying. You can find me at K Love the Poet, KLOVETHEPOET, on everything. That's on Instagram. That's on YouTube. That's on Twitter. That's on Facebook. You can find me at Kendria, KENDRIA, K Love, KLOVE Harris. That is my personal page, but that is where most of my following goes. That's where I update the most. And if you can't get onto that page for whatever reason, you can also find my artist page on Facebook, K Love the Poet, K-LOVETHEPOET. Oh, I forgot one. YouTube is K Love Poetry. That's my channel. Make sure you subscribe. You're watching Indigo Eye on Shy.